For 1,000 years, the way of the warrior was the heart of Japan. The samurai, bound by Bushidō, lived and died by the sword, their existence a testament to discipline, honor, and the pursuit of a glorious victory. Their entire world, a finely tuned system of combat and social order, was built to endure. Yet, in the 19th century, a new reality dawned. The thunder of modern artillery, the arrival of foreign ships, and the rise of a conscript army rendered the katana and the mounted warrior obsolete. The samurai, as a class and a fighting force, faced a battle they could not possibly win. Their world was ending, and in that ending, the deepest layer of their philosophy was revealed. Not how to win, but how to lose. Not how to conquer, but how to persist when conquest is impossible. This is the wisdom of the long defeat. Chapter 1. The Sword That Cannot Strike. We begin not with an ending, but with a beginning that feels like one. Consider Miyamoto Musashi, perhaps the most renowned swordsman in history. By the age of 30, after over 60 duels, he was undefeated. His entire identity was that of the victor. But in his later years, after his famous duel on Ganryu Island, a profound shift occurred. He began to withdraw, to spend years in isolation, meditating in caves and refining not just his technique, but his understanding. He wrote the Book of Five Rings, not as a manual for endless killing, but as a treatise on strategy that transcended the sword. He saw that the ultimate mastery was not over others, but over the self. And part of that mastery was the acceptance that every skill, every era, every life has its season. The Zen concept of Mujō, impermanence, was not a sad footnote to Bushidō. It was its very foundation. The cherry blossom is most beautiful because it falls. The samurai was most dignified because he knew his life could end at any moment. The first step on this path is to see your battle clearly, to hold the sword and know it may never land a decisive blow. Chapter 2. The Modern Siege. Let us translate this ancient stance to a modern life. Imagine a man named Kenji, not a warrior, but a teacher. For 20 years, he taught literature at a small, respected high school. He believed in the slow, careful work of shaping minds, of discussing themes of honor and tragedy in classic texts. Then, the shift began. Standardized testing regimes tightened their grip. Metrics and data points became the only language of success. Student attention fragmented into digital seconds. The deep, contemplative reading he championed was deemed inefficient. He was fighting for a cause, the life of the mind, against an army of spreadsheets and algorithms. He could not win. To win would mean to single-handedly reverse the tide of an entire culture's values. The despair he felt was not of a single loss, but of a long, grinding retreat. This is the landscape of the long defeat. The career made obsolete, the personal flaw that seems woven into your character. The societal ill you protest year after year with no visible change. The first instinct is to fight harder with the old methods, to sharpen a sword against a tsunami. The second and more devastating instinct is to lay down your arms entirely, to succumb to cynicism. But there is a third way. Chapter 3. The Anatomy of a Lost Cause. The samurai knew that not all battles are chosen, but how you stand in them is. When the warrior monk Benki stood guard at a bridge, buying time for his lord to complete his ritual suicide, he knew the outcome. He fought wave after wave of enemy soldiers until he finally fell, standing upright, propped against his spear. His goal was not victory in the conventional sense. It was the integrity of the action itself. His purpose was to be a barrier, a testament to loyalty, for as long as his body could hold. This is the critical pivot. You must surgically separate the external objective, winning the war, changing the system, eradicating your flaw, from the internal objective, how you conduct yourself within the struggle. For Kenji, the teacher, winning was no longer about restoring the old curriculum. It became about how he conducted his class within the new constraints. Could he find one passage, one poem, that would silence a room for just 30 seconds? Could he offer a single piece of feedback that spoke to a student's humanity, not just their test score? The battle transformed from a campaign for territory to a series of precisely chosen stands. Chapter 4. The Discipline of the Falling Blossom. This is where philosophy becomes practice, and practice becomes a discipline. It is the discipline of small, non-negotiable actions performed with impeccable intent. It is the kata, practice not for war, but for the purity of the form. For the samurai, this was chado, the way of tea, or shodō, the way of calligraphy, arts of presence where the mind must be utterly still. For Kenji, it began with a single, silent ritual. Each morning, before reviewing the day's mandated metrics, he would read one haiku. He would not analyze it for teaching. He would simply sit with its imagery, its unspoken melancholy, its fleeting beauty. This was his kata. It reconnected him to the essence of what he loved, separate from the outcome. Then, in class, he instituted a silent minute at the start of each session. A minute of no phones, no talk, just the weight of a thought. It was a tiny rebellion, a small stand on his bridge. He measured his success not by student compliance, but by his own consistency in offering the space. The goal was the offering itself, as perfect and complete as a fallen blossom on moss. Chapter 5. The Victory in the Stance. Over time, a subtle transformation occurs. When your energy is no longer drained by the frustration of an unwinnable outcome, it is freed to invest in the quality of your engagement. Your identity shifts from someone who must fix this to someone who endures with principle. This is the essence of fudōshin, the immovable heart. It is a mind that is unshaken by external circumstance because it is anchored to an internal code. Kenji stopped attending the bitter faculty room complaints. He stopped measuring his worth by the department's test scores. His dignity became located in the clarity of his purpose, to be a custodian of depth in a shallow time. He found that in focusing on the integrity of his small actions, some students began to lean in. They sensed his authenticity. They started asking different kinds of questions. The system did not change. The battle was not won. But his experience of the battle transformed completely. The despair was replaced by a quiet, resilient gravity. He was no longer a victim of the long defeat. He was a practitioner of it. He had found a way to wield his sword, even knowing the war was over, because the wielding itself had become his expression of meaning. The samurai class is gone. Their world vanished into history. Yet, their final lesson echoes louder than ever. We all face our long defeats, the aging body, the ideals that the world ignores, the personal demons we negotiate with daily. The modern obsession with constant victory, with hack and optimization, leaves us helpless and hollow before these truths. The way of the long defeat asks you to lay down that burden. It invites you to study the blade not to cut down your enemy, but to polish its surface until you see your own reflection clearly. To fight with grace not for the sake of the banner you raise, but for the posture of your soul as you hold it. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It is a field upon which to take a stand again and again, with dignity and care until the very end. In the unwavering quality of that stand, in the beauty of the effort itself, you will find a victory that no external force can ever take from you. Thank you for walking this path today. You have learned that true strength is not found in the avoidance of unwinnable battles, but in the conscious, disciplined choice to engage with them on your own terms. You have seen how to separate the external outcome, which you may never control, from the internal integrity of your actions, which you always can. This is the art of the long defeat, to find meaning not in conquest, but in the unwavering quality of your own stance, transforming a source of despair into a profound and personal way. I leave you with a single question, one to carry into your own struggles. What is the one small, non-negotiable action you can perform today, not to win your war, but to honor your presence within it? Please, share your thought in the comments below. I read everyone, and it is in these shared reflections that we find a different kind of fellowship. If this philosophy resonated with you, if you feel a call to deepen this practice of resilience and quiet strength, then consider subscribing to this channel. It is a signal that you wish to continue this journey, to explore further the timeless principles that help us navigate a modern world. Until next, we meet, thank you. Truly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to look, without flinching, into the heart of the struggle.